Someone wrote in about it on our video about incel, involuntarily celibate people, and he very articulately and thoughtfully explained that we didn't know what we're talking about, and that it's a longer post with a blog attached, and we wanted to talk about it a little bit and answer some of his criticisms and the points he made. This is Reid Mahalko from readaboutsex.com.
Cathy and I from TheIntimacyDojo.com.
And neither Reid or I work specifically with people that are incel. I have worked with some people that would consider themselves that, and for 14 years I considered myself incel.
And just for people who haven't seen the other video, it's involuntary celibacy.
Yeah.
Or true forced loneliness. There's a lot of different terms that have been coined by people who identify as this. And so, one, as educators, whenever you're teaching or talking about stuff that's not your own personal experience, and this is also a way of saying thank you to the people that wrote in who do identify as incel, like let people share their lived experience when it is not your lived experience. And for me, as the poster child for white extroverted male privilege, and for me as somebody who's very promiscuous, and you know, the celibacy that I've ever gone through was chosen celibacy and exploring certain things about my sexuality. It's not my experience. I'm fine to do some research and answer questions. And I just want to encourage people who are going to see this video or any of our videos, if we're talking about stuff that's actually your experience, we would love to hear from you, whether you leave a comment or send a message. The things that I want to talk about and that Cathy and I talking about around responding to this is where I think, there are tools and understandings about humans and how we communicate and how we can empower ourselves that lead for greater connection. And are tools that maybe you didn't learn, or I certainly didn't learn growing up from my family and the adults around me. So sharing these tools, and then your own experience as a person of size, there may be ways that we empower ourselves. And for me, as an insecure person who had an alcoholic mom, like skill set sharing the tools that help us all become more empowered human beings. That's part of my mission. Well. And why we thought we're qualified to even respond to these questions and criticisms in a video. So there. I felt like I babbled.
A little bit, but right. It was good intention babble.
Oh, so I did babble. Please continue, Dr. Vartuli.
So for 14 years, because I weighed 320 pounds, I felt like I wanted to be sexual, I wanted to be in a relationship, and I wasn't having anyone that was approaching me for it. And I'm very shy, so I wasn't approaching anyone else. And no one was magically appearing, and I wasn't engaging with people, and I had a lot of resentment and a lot of frustration because of the way society is arranged and the beliefs that are there, that I couldn't get connection that way. And what this gentleman wrote in his blog, and we'll put the link below, is a lot of what he recommends is really brilliant. It's, you don't have to apologize for being male, is what he said, but I don't have to apologize for being bigger. We don't have to apologize for who we are or that we have perfectly normal sexual urges. Brilliantly written. We don't need another person to cook or clean or do other domestic tasks. That's another point he said. I think that's absolutely true. But one of the things he said is you need to see women as they actually are, not the way they're portrayed by the media. He said they're lying, scheming, manipulative bitches who always bang the sideways cap wearing alpha douchebag over you every time. So I like to talk about that because I really did have a lot of resentment there too. Our society, our media does have a lot of emphasis on attractive status things. And there are also really a lot of people out there that are amazing people that don't care about those things. And I really did learn that if I could get over my shyness and my fear about being rejected because I'm bigger, I was able to build connections. And I want that for people that want to build connections. I also know that when I approach someone angrily or defensively, that it was much harder for me to build relationships. If I came up and I'm like, you're going to reject me, you're an asshole, in my mind, even if I'm not saying it, if I just approached you as you're an asshole and you're going to hurt me and you're a fuckwad, it's really hard to build a connection or a relationship in that way.
Even if they truly are a fuckwad.
Well, but if they're not, then the energy is present there. And I am so sorry that society and experience can often create really strong beliefs that everyone's out to get you or everyone's judging you. I've experienced that myself. Or I had long times where I would see my, friends that I went out with getting hit on or bought drinks, and I would just sit there like a lump on a log. And I have learned that if I'm not sitting there sulking or feeling bad about myself, if I engage with people, sometimes it takes more effort, and it's sad. I wish it didn't take more effort, but once people get to see me, they don't always see the weight as a negative. And there's some really, really cool people out there that don't look at weight or other issues like that as an issue. They just see people. So when we set barriers up that everyone is either of a gender or every human is something like they're bad or they're going to judge me or they're going to hurt me, and I really do get that can come from a lot of really harsh experiences. That belief can be there and be really strongly anchored. I'm not saying that you did anything wrong. I'm just inviting you to maybe open up and find out if people are really like that. Because not everybody is like that. And I've had a lot of really amazing experiences with people since I let go a lot of the anger and fear that I was having. So I know that you were in your comment, you were talking about women pre-selecting. I really felt like men were pre-selecting and not judging, not seeing me too. I think that we tend to do that. We tend to blame and put categories together when we feel very alone and very scared. And we kind of blanket that. That's a very human thing to do. Rather than saying, wow, that person was a complete asshole to me, and I don't want to engage with that person. I wonder what this other person is going to be like.
And I can understand, having gone through my own versions of things, that how much it hurts when you just continually run into a bunch of people that don't get it. Yeah. Having been a football player in college, but was also a comic book artist, other artists just saw me as the dumb jock, and wouldn't engage with me on an art level until they saw enough of my art to start to change their opinion.
We have predispositions.
And again, like that, this is not the same situation, but how frustrating it is to have to wait for everybody else to get the fucking clue. And, not me back then, not having the tools to be able to find people faster who got me immediately. Like the refreshingness of when somebody gets you, and just sees you for who you are. And also, we're all being influenced by culture in our own ways. So calibrating that's just going to happen.
And he actually says you need to see our society for what it is. I think that's really good advice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of garbage out there in beliefs.
And so the idea that culture is encouraging people to be shallow, and then that environment, especially for those of us who've been othered, right? Like I didn't always look like this, and I wasn't always comfortable with how dorky I am. So me being, the roly-poly, super clumsy, super anxious fifth grader with a mom who was descending into alcoholism, nobody wanted to hang out with me. And that shifted. But the insecurities and how I feel, like who I'm seeing when I look in the mirror, is not what culture is looking at me to be, right? I think starting to understand that so many people are going through being fucked over by culture in all the ways, that we also are conflicted because, you know, you may have desires or you know, your erotic alignment is towards activities or people that are just not into you, whatever that is, right? And I'm not trying to minimize this, but I'm just like saying, like, there's so many plates spinning that to develop the ability to see all the context, still hold and be gentle and kind to yourself so that you're not leading with the hate and the anger, but it's okay to be angry.
Certainly. And
to have that anger start to calcify into hate. Understanding that that's not easy. And then, is there a place, and this is where I try to like get myself to, is where's the place of inspiration and aspiration for me? Who am I trying to be? And as a comic book nerd, you know, it's like with great power comes great responsibility. For me, it's like with great privilege, I have a responsibility. How do I use that wisely? How do I help uplift other people? And on a good day, can I lead with that? And that feels like what I can adequately contribute to this conversation. Having it not be my lived experience. Yeah. Always.
Well, I think, again, what this gentleman recommended in his blog, a lot of it does apply. He talks about focus on other things than pursuing women, understanding our culture as it is. The biggest thing I found that makes a difference for me is not trying to get my identity bolstered by who I connect with. When I felt very, very insecure with myself, I mostly wanted to connect with people that met my ideal of what was okay. And I had a very narrow focus of what I felt like if that person would sleep with me or date me, then I would finally feel valued. And I was trying to get my needs met that way, and there was something a little off in the energy around that, which was not comfortable for people. People want to be valued for themselves, not because they're going to build someone's status up. And I think when we've been rejected a lot or felt unloved, it's really easy to want that. There's that energy of like, you know, please fill me up, make me feel better about myself. So what he's recommending about doing other things in your life, that's really important. But you can also, if you want to, look and see about building connections with people, because I think...
Well, and that's what's not in this blog post is surround yourself with people who are awesome. Who, you know, like, where's the community component, right? Of surround yourself with people who invite you and support you to become a better human being. You know, learn better self-care practices so that on bad days you have more resources and then the tools to get yourself out of a bad day, which is just good human being tools to begin with, right? Because we're all going to have small days, no matter how awesome or culturally approved you are. And, you know, the advice of being able to see culture for what it is and opt out of it, understanding that for most of us, we are social creatures and are dying for community. I just happen to find I like being a part of the island of misfit toys, like the sex geeks and the insecure, shy, brainy, you know, nerdy people who want to put things in their butts. Like, those are my people! Like, come! You know, and so when I found them, they got the nerd in me. And then in an odd way, me being surrounded by a bunch of insecure, nerdy people, I didn't feel alone. And, you know, there are some bitter, nerdy people putting things in their butts that I had to step away from, because to find those people that were really uplifting me and what my vision or shared vision of what the world can become, which a lot of it is stepping outside of that box of what culture, all the bullshit culture puts us in.
Yeah. And just the last point I want to talk about is he's talking about how the women have all the power, they're the choosers. And that's not my experience at all as a woman. I think that at the time when I was not connecting, I really did blame, like, at that time I was looking to date men. I was like, those assholes, why are they not reaching out, or why are they not connecting with me? I put the power over there because I felt disempowered. And really, now I try to view it as people get to choose, and are we going to dance together or not? It's not one person has the power and the other doesn't. There's a dance. And when my tanks are really full, I'm getting my needs met in lots of different ways, then it's really easy to be in that space. And when I feel really depleted and down, then it's really easy to get back into the space of it's their fault, because I do feel powerless at times.
And what tool, and thank you for listening. This is a longer video than we usually do. What tools or techniques do you have to Aikido those bad days for yourself? Sometimes I'll schedule a massage, or like I'll start getting my tanks filled. I'll ask myself, what do I need? I'll ask a friend to have dinner and listen to me vent. I do emotional freedom techniques, which is an acupressure tapping technique to help clear energies. I might go to a cuddle party, which I run, and you and Marsha Paczynski co-invented. So there's different ways I can get my needs met that don't have to be romantic or sexual, that will allow me to be in a better space if I approach someone or they approach me. Cool. Long video, deep thoughts, ideas, thoughts, suggestions, resources. What you got?
And again, thank you very much to the people that wrote in about this. I understand it's a very touchy subject, and hopefully we handled it with caring and warm intentions. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to subscribe to my social media, it's right there. And please subscribe to this channel there. If you'd like to see more goofy Reid and Cathy, there's more videos there.
See them. Why are they there?